Hello and welcome back to another video with the Red Jacket Lawyer. Today we'll again be talking about German company law, and given our recent short series on German capital companies, we are slowly drawing to a close. As part of our closing, we'll do two videos. This one is the first, where we will compare the two heavyweights of German company law, the GmbH and the AG. If you like what we are doing, please feel free to like and subscribe below, and do not hesitate to drop a comment or to reach out to us if you have any further questions or suggestions. When it comes to making the choice between a GmbH or an AG, the question really is, what do you want to achieve? What are your aims and needs? And on the back of that, it is mostly quite straightforward to decide on the right way. Having said that, having chosen the wrong one initially can lead to costly restructuring needs at a later point in time. So please do spend some time thinking about the right approach. This will be a practical decision guide for founders. It will be founder-friendly and pragmatic rather than heavy on the law. So, starting off with the question that bothers a lot of investors and founders at the outset is, how much does it cost? And the good news is the capital requirement for a GmbH is much lower than for an AG. The AG requires 50,000 euros share capital. The GmbH only requires 25,000, and this can be dropped further down to as little as 12,500 in cash. And on a short detour, bear in mind, there is also the mini GmbH, UG Unternehmergesellschaft, where in theory you can start with a single euro. If that is of interest to you, have a look at the video we've done on that. So capital, the GmbH clearly has an advantage when it comes to a tight budget. The other question that often comes up is, how long does it take? Because most of the time people are under time pressure. The setup of a GmbH is quick, simple, and in itself cheap when it comes to the cost of the actual process. Often they can be incorporated in a matter of days and weeks. That is, if you're not buying a shelf company that's already sitting somewhere pre-prepared. The setup process for a Aktiengesellschaft AG is a bit more complicated. That's not least because the structure is more elaborate, because you have the two-tier structure we discussed as part of the video with Vorstand, Executive Board and Aufsichtsrat, Non-Executive Supervisory Board. That also needs to be filled with live and heads. The costs there go up a bit, and arranging for all of it takes a bit longer. What's the administrative burden? And the answer is, the administrative burden on the AG is a bit higher than on the GmbH, because with the AG, the lawmaker always has in mind that there may in future be investors alien to the company who have an interest primarily in the money they have invested and not so much an interest in the day-to-day running, and as such there is more requirements for bookkeeping and auditing in an AG than there are in a GmbH, and that means that the GmbH is a bit quicker off the mark, a bit more flexible and a bit less expensive. This advantage, however, is coming at a cost, and that is when it comes to transferring shares in the company. That is in turn very easy with the AG, and the prime example of that is trading on the stock exchange, where the same share can change hands multiple times in a very short period of time. And the GmbH requires individual paper-based acts in front of a notary where participations are assigned by the previous owner to the purchaser. Similarly, the GmbH is a bit more streamlined when it comes to governance and control. The day-to-day management is a one-tier body, Geschäftsführung, and they can take instructions from the shareholders, and if there's only one shareholder, it's basically a me job, because the shareholder can tell himself as the director what he wants to do. That doesn't work the same way in the AG, where the shareholders are limited to the shareholders meeting, which directs which mandates the supervisory board, which in turn mandates the executive board Vorstand. So investor or founder control in an AG is much more remote than in a GmbH. On the whole, it's fair to say the AG is better suited for big business and the GmbH is better suited for your local family business. That's also true when it comes to scaling up. As just mentioned with the GmbH, you can't easily bring in new capital because you can't easily transfer shares and you can't easily issue new shares and then sell them. It all needs to go through the notary in individual acts. With an AG, you can potentially list on the stock exchange and therefore have much easier and much wider access to capital. And that means that big investors who buy into business may well be minded to buy into a GmbH at an early stage, but they will surely drive for that company to be converted into an AG at a later stage if it develops nicely and as intended. So as soon as scaling and IPOs and that sort of thing do become an issue, please consider an AG or converting your GmbH at an early stage into an AG if it really is one, if it is not one yet. These are the broad thoughts to be had on the comparison between GmbH and AG. We hope you like this and we're looking forward to welcoming you in our next video.